Dear students, viewers, and the subscribers, welcome to the IAS Mentor. This would be our lecture number 75 in the series Indian Polity. In this lecture, we will move on and we'll try to understand again a very important topic, which is the presiding officers. And in the presiding officer, the first topic that we are going to discuss is the speaker in case of Lok Sabha as well as the deputy speaker in case of Lok Sabha. In the next lecture, I will cover the topic of chairman and the deputy chairman. So overall, if you see under the constitution, who are all considered to be the presiding officers of the parliament houses? One is the speaker and deputy speaker in case of Lok Sabha, and the chairman and the deputy chairman in case of Rajya Sabha. And in fact, they play a very important role under the parliamentary system. So let us try to understand the position of speaker, deputy speaker, their powers, their functions, and all those things in today's lecture. But however, before we understand the position of the position of speaker, or the regarding the speaker under the Constitution of India, first we'll have to understand a person who is called as, or a position which is called as the speaker pro-tem. So the word speaker pro-tem or the pro-tem speaker is nowhere mentioned in the Constitution. It does not find any mention in the Constitution, but all that we'll have to understand is what is the relevance of this pro-tem speaker under the Constitution. So try to understand, in the last class I asked a question, presently we are in which Lok Sabha? Presently we are in what is called as the 18th Lok Sabha. And before the 18th Lok Sabha, the 17th Lok Sabha was dissolved. After the 17th Lok Sabha is dissolved, the 18th Lok Sabha elections happened. And after the members of the parliament got elected, then what will happen is the president will summon the new session. So therefore, the members of the parliament will come and start attending the new session. But however, it is very important that you'll have to keep in your mind, as per the Constitution of India, the newly elected members cannot participate in the session unless and until they are administered oath as a member of parliament. Now, once they get elected, before they take part in the proceedings in the house, they have to be administered a oath as a member of parliament. And who is supposed to administer this oath under the Constitution? The president has to administer this oath to the newly elected members. But it would be practically difficult for the president to administer this oath. So therefore, the president appoints a person to administer the oath to all the newly elected members, and that person is basically what is called as a speaker pro-tem or the pro-tem speaker. So normally, if a question comes, who appoints a pro-tem speaker? It is a president who appoints a pro-tem speaker. Usually the convention that is followed in India is the senior most member in the Lok Sabha. When I say senior most member in the Lok Sabha, not necessarily in terms of their age, but in terms of how many times they got elected to Lok Sabha. So that senior most person is usually appointed as a pro-tem speaker by the president. So if you see the present Lok Sabha, 18th Lok Sabha, I think there was a senior most member in BJP party who is a 7-time member of parliament in the Lok Sabha. So that person was appointed as a speaker pro-tem. So normally, once a speaker pro-tem is appointed by the president, what he normally does, the speaker pro-tem administers oath to all the newly elected members of parliament. Because as per the Constitution, no member of parliament can take part in any proceedings in the house unless and until they are administered oath by the president of India. But the president appoints a speaker pro-tem. On behalf of the president, the speaker pro-tem administers oath to all the newly elected members. Not necessarily only done by the speaker pro-tem, the president can nominate others also, appoint others also to administer the oath, but normally it is done by what is called as a speaker pro-tem. So once a speaker pro-tem administers a oath, and then what happens subsequent to that, now the members of parliament in the Lok Sabha are eligible to take part in the proceedings in the house, and then only they are also allowed to take part in the election of what is called as a speaker. To elect the speaker in that particular house, they have to vote in that particular house. So therefore, to vote in that particular house, first they have to be administered a oath. So therefore, administration of oath to all the newly elected members is the first and foremost duty of the pro-tem speaker. Then what happens after this? The president will decide a date on which the election of speaker is to happen. So then the speaker has to be elected. The only condition, the only qualification for someone to get elected as a speaker in the Lok Sabha is that he should be a member of that particular house. As you already know, who is a speaker? The speaker is a presiding officer of Lok Sabha. And there is a deputy to him who is the deputy speaker. And similarly in the Rajya Sabha, the chairman is the presiding officer, and then he has a deputy to him who is the deputy chairman. But however, we'll discuss about the chairman and the deputy chairman later. But coming to the post of the speaker should be elected from among the members of that particular house, means the only condition that is given in the constitution as to who shall be elected as a speaker is someone who is a member of that particular house. So therefore, only the members of the Lok Sabha, there are 543 MPs in the Lok Sabha. So any one of the 543 members can contest election, but who will decide the date on which the election is to happen? The president will decide the date on which the election of the speaker is to happen, and who will conduct the election of the speaker? The election of the speaker will be conducted by the speaker pro tem. So therefore, the speaker pro tem will conduct the election to elect the speaker of that particular house. And the moment the speaker is elected, and the only thing that is given in the constitution, as I already said, he or she should be a member of parliament to contest the election of the speaker, and a majority that is required to elect the speaker in case of Lok Sabha is simple majority. That means anyone who has got the simple majority or anyone who is elected by the simple majority is declared to be the speaker. The moment the speaker is elected, the office of the speaker pro tem ceases to exist. So once the speaker is elected, then the speaker becomes a presiding officer, then there is no relevance to the office of the speaker pro tem. So therefore, the office of the speaker pro tem ceases to exist upon the election of what is called as a speaker. So then the speaker pro tem automatically becomes a normal member of the house, and the house has already elected the speaker, who is now going to be the presiding officer of that particular house. Later you will understand some of the important functions that is to be performed by the speaker. But however, before I go to the important functions performed by the speaker, there are certain constitutional provisions that you have to understand. Okay, now the speaker is elected, the speaker pro tem ceases to exist. Now once a speaker is elected, now what would be the term of the speaker? So normally the term of the speaker is during the term of the Lok Sabha, but does it mean that the term of the Lok Sabha and the term of the speaker is the same? No. Now try to understand that once a speaker is elected, he continues to be the speaker even after the dissolution of the Lok Sabha. Suppose, let us assume in the 18th Lok Sabha, the speaker of the Lok Sabha is Mr. Om Birla. Mr. Om Birla would continue to be the speaker even after the dissolution of 18th Lok Sabha till the time the 19th Lok Sabha election is over, and in the 19th Lok Sabha somebody is appointed as a speaker pro tem. The moment the speaker pro tem is appointed in the 19th Lok Sabha by the President of India, then Om Birla would not continue to be the Speaker of India. So therefore, till that point of time, he continued to be the Speaker. That means, if a question comes, the term of the Speaker is coterminous, means same as that of the term of the Lok Sabha. No, he continues to be the Speaker for some more time, till the time in the new Lok Sabha, somebody is appointed as a Speaker pro tem. So that is what you'll have to understand. And what is it possible for the speaker to submit his resignation? Yes, he can resign at any time. All that he has to do is he has to submit the resignation to the deputy speaker. The deputy speaker can submit the resignation to the speaker. So this is what is given in the constitution. And apart from that, as I already said, can the speaker be disqualified? Yes, the speaker can be disqualified. Same as that of a member of parliament. We have already seen as to what are the grounds for disqualification of an MP. So therefore, all those conditions will apply to the speaker as well. So therefore, if he is disqualified to be a member of parliament, there is no separate condition for the speaker to get disqualified. All those conditions that would apply for a member of parliament would apply to the speaker as well. So if the speaker is disqualified to be a member of parliament, then he cannot continue to be a speaker. The moment he is disqualified to be an MP, he is automatically, he has to cease the office of the speaker, because the only condition given under the constitution for the post of speaker is that he should be a member of parliament from that particular house. So this is the basic understanding you should have. And then subsequently, you will have to understand the provisions related to the removal of the speaker. Can the speaker be removed from his office? Yes, the speaker can also be removed from his office. What is the ground on which the speaker can be removed from his office? The speaker can be removed from the office by a motion or a proposal that is introduced in that particular house. When I say in that particular house, it has to be introduced in what is called as the Lok Sabha. A proposal has to be introduced in the Lok Sabha, and this proposal has to be passed with what is called as effective majority in the house. So this is very, very important. What is the majority with which the speaker can be removed? A motion that is passed to that effect by what is called as effective majority. When I say effective majority is equal to the total membership. Effective majority is equal to a majority of the effective membership of the house. And what is the effective membership? Effective membership is equal to total membership minus vacancies. So when you say total membership minus vacancies, then that will give you what is called as the effective membership, and the majority of the effective membership is what is called as the effective majority. So therefore, try to please understand, while the speaker can be elected by a simple majority, but the speaker can be removed only by what is called as an effective majority. So this is what you'll have to understand under the provisions related to the speaker. And one last thing, whenever there is a vacancy to the office of the speaker, how the vacancy to the office of the speaker can arise? The vacancy to the office of the speaker can arise because of what is called as the death of the speaker, or the speaker has resigned. In all those circumstances, whenever there is a vacancy to the office of the speaker, or he is disqualified as an MP, so therefore he cannot continue to be the office of the speaker. Whenever the vacancy arises to the office of the speaker, who is supposed to preside over the house is the deputy speaker. So that is why the house also has got what is called as a deputy speaker. But if the speaker is also not there and the deputy speaker post is also vacant, so then therefore who will preside over the house? Any member of parliament in the Lok Sabha who is appointed by the president for some time, till the time the new speaker is elected. So this is the understanding you should have. So whenever there is a vacancy, who will preside over the house? The speaker vacancy, deputy speaker. But the deputy speaker is also vacant, then one person among the members of the parliament in the Lok Sabha will be appointed by the president to preside over the house till the time the new speaker is elected. But however, if there is an absence to the post of the speaker, when there is an absence means that it is not that the post is vacant, that on a given day the speaker is absent. So if there is absence and there is nobody to preside as a speaker, or the speaker on a given day is absent, then who will preside over the house? The deputy speaker. But if the deputy speaker is also absent, then there is something which is called as panel of chairpersons in the Lok Sabha. So as per the rules of the Lok Sabha, there are a group of MPs in the Lok Sabha will be part of the panel of chairpersons. Let us assume a group of people. So any one of this panel of chairperson will preside over the Lok Sabha, preside over the chairperson of Lok Sabha in rotation. So this is how it happens. So try to understand what in case of vacancy. In case of vacancy, the deputy speaker will preside. The deputy speaker post is also vacant. Then the president is going to appoint the speaker for some time, till the time the new speaker is elected. But however, on the other hand, if there is absence, when there is an absence, then also the deputy speaker will preside. But if the deputy speaker is also not there, then there is a panel of chairpersons in the Lok Sabha. Panel of chairperson means for the purpose of presiding over the house, somebody is selected in the house. So that is basically what is called as panel of chairperson. And one among the panel of chairperson, if there are 10 members, one among the panel of chairperson in rotation will preside over the house whenever there is absence of both speaker as well as the deputy speaker. So these are the very, very important information that you'll have to keep in your mind. And one more information that you'll have to keep in your mind is, can the speaker be removed from the house? Yes, of course, a speaker can be removed from the house. And how he can be removed from the house? By a proposal or a resolution passed in the Lok Sabha by what is called as effective majority. Therefore, whenever a proposal is introduced for the removal of the speaker, suppose any MP has introduced a proposal for the removal of the speaker, during the time when the removal of the speaker is there in the house, that proposal is there in the house, the speaker cannot preside over the house because there is a charge against the speaker. So therefore, who will preside over the house when there is a charge against the speaker? The deputy speaker will preside over the house. If the deputy speaker is also not there, then among the panel of chairpersons, someone will preside over the house. So the thing that you have to keep in your mind is, when there is a proposal to remove the speaker cannot preside over the house, but he can present in the house, he can take part in the proceedings in the house, he also has the right to speak in the house, and he also has the right to vote in the first instance. Normally, under the constitution, whoever is presiding, that is, whoever is acting as a speaker or the speaker himself, will not have the right to vote in what is called as a first instance. When I say right to vote in the first instance, suppose if the speaker is there, some bill is put to vote, while all the members of parliament can vote, but the speaker is not allowed to vote in the first instance. When the speaker is allowed to vote, the speaker is allowed to vote only in case of what is called as equality of votes, or in other words, the speaker is allowed to exercise only what is called as casting vote. What does it mean by casting vote? Casting vote means that when there is equality in terms of whoever is supporting and whoever is opposing, to break the tie, the the speaker can exercise what is called as casting vote. But however, when there is a removal motion that is pending against the speaker is allowed to vote in the first instance because he is not presiding over the house. Only when he is presiding over the house, then he has to exercise what is called as casting vote. I'm just repeating it again. If there is any proposal to remove the speaker can be present in the house, he can take part in the proceedings in the house, he can speak in the proceedings, and he will also have the right to vote in what is called as the first instance. So please try to remember all those things. Very, very important. Any of these things can be asked in the prelims examination. But however, the most important thing that you have to answer is, what are the powers and functions of the speaker under the constitution? The speaker is a presiding officer of the Lok Sabha. So suppose, let us assume he is like a presiding officer. Suppose let us assume that there is a classroom. In the classroom, there would be a teacher who is to discipline the students. So similarly, in the Lok Sabha, who would act as some kind of teacher? If not exactly the role of the teacher, a similar role is taken up by what is called as the speaker in that particular house, because the speaker is a presiding officer. So therefore, the first function of the speaker in the house is to maintain the order and the decorum in that particular house. He is the one who has to put the house in order. If somebody is engaging in any indisciplinary activities, who has to take care of all those things? Who also has the power to punish the members of parliament? It is a speaker. So it is his authority to maintain the order and the decorum in the house, ensure the discipline of members in the house. And it is also the power of the speaker only to conduct the proceedings only when there is a quorum. That means when there is no quorum in the house, the speaker can suspend the function of the house, or the speaker can adjourn the functioning of the house. So what does it mean by quorum? So quorum means not less than 1/10 of the members of the house. So to have quorum in the house, minimum 1/10 of the members in the house has to be there. So only then the speaker can carry out the functions. Otherwise, the speaker cannot carry out the functions. The speaker is also the final authority to interpret the rules within the house. So this is also very important. So suppose many business is to be taken up in the house. So what is the way these business are to be taken up? What are the rules that is to be followed? What is the procedure that is to be followed in the house? Who is the final authority to determine all those things? It is a speaker who is the final authority. And the speaker is also the authority to preside over what is called as the joint sitting. I have already told as to what is a joint sitting. I have briefly told in the previous lecture, but remember, I'll take this elaborately when I discuss about the various types of bills and how the bills become an act. It is going to take some more time for us to do that. But however, when the joint sitting is likely to happen is when there is a deadlock over a bill. So technically, when there is a deadlock over a bill, then the joint sitting is likely to happen. But what does it mean by a deadlock? A deadlock is a situation when one house has passed the bill and the other house is not agreeing to this particular bill. So therefore, then there is a deadlock. If the Lok Sabha passes the bill, the Rajya Sabha is not agreeing to it, or the Rajya Sabha passes the bill, the Lok Sabha is not agreeing to this, then there is a deadlock in this particular bill. But to remove this particular deadlock, who has a power to convene a joint sitting? The joint sitting can be convened by the President of India. Although it is not his discretionary power, the President convenes a joint sitting based on the aid and advice of the Council of Ministers. Once a joint sitting is convened, where the members of both the houses of the parliament will be there, who has the power to preside over this joint sitting? Only the speaker has the power to preside over this joint sitting. None other than the speaker has the power to preside over this joint sitting. This should be very, very clear to you. So who has the power to preside over the joint sitting? It is a speaker. And apart from that, it is also the speaker who is the disqualifying authority in case of what is called as anti-defection law. Or in other words, if any member of parliament is engaging in political defection within the Lok Sabha, who has authority to disqualify them? It is a speaker who has got the power to disqualify them. In case of Rajya Sabha, who has the power to disqualify them? It is a chairman who has got the power to disqualify them. So these are all some of the powers of the speaker. And most importantly, it is also the speaker who can certify a bill as a money bill. Very, very important. So who has the power to certify a particular bill which is introduced in the houses of the parliament as a money bill? It is a speaker. Under Article 110 of the Constitution, it is only the power of the speaker to certify a bill as a money bill. Students might have a small doubt as to what is a money bill. Do not worry about it at this stage. So this stage, it is not for us to learn what is a money bill, which I will subsequently discuss when I take up the different types of bills. But for time being, understand who will certify a bill as a money bill. It is a speaker who can certify a bill as a money bill before sending the bill to Rajya Sabha. And once a bill is certified as a money bill, then the Rajya Sabha has very limited powers with regard to that particular bill. The Rajya Sabha will not have equal powers. We will discuss all those things in detail when I take up different types of bills. But for time being, understand whose power is to certify a bill as a money bill. It is a power of the speaker. And apart from that, the speaker always vote in case of what is called as equality of votes, or the speaker can exercise only what is called as casting vote. That when there is equality of votes in the house in favor and against a particular proposal, then only the speaker can exercise his vote in order to break the tie. And that is exactly what is called as casting vote. And the speaker cannot exercise vote in the first instance. Apart from that, it is a speaker who himself is the chairman of some of the committees. So, for example, he himself is the chairman of the Rules Committee, Business Advisory Committee, and also the General Purpose Committee. What these committees do and what in general is a parliamentary committee, we'll discuss all those things when I'm coming to the end of the parliament chapter or end of the legislature. But however, now try to understand within the parliament there are a number of parliamentary committees. And any parliamentary committee in the Lok Sabha, there are separate parliamentary committees in the Rajya Sabha also. So, any parliamentary committee within Lok Sabha, who is going to appoint the chairperson of that particular committee? It is the speaker who will appoint the chairperson. So, similarly, any parliamentary committee in the Rajya Sabha, who will appoint the chairperson of that particular committee? It is the chairman Rajya Sabha. But in case of speaker, the speaker himself is a chairperson of some of the committees. Therefore, you can understand that these committees have a very important role to play. So, that is why the speaker himself is a chairperson. So, what are the committees in which the speaker himself is a chairperson? The speaker himself is a chairperson in case of Rules Committee, in case of Business Advisory Committee, and also in case of what is called as General Purpose Committee. For time being, just remember these committees and what these committee does, what are their function, we will try to understand as we will proceed to the topic of the parliamentary committees. Now, it is quite important that we understand that the post of the speaker is very, very important under the constitution, because it is a speaker who has to maintain the decorum in the house. It is a speaker who has to regulate the proceedings in the house. It is a speaker who will certify the money bills. It is a speaker who will disqualify the members of parliament in case of anti-defection law. So, therefore, it is imperative that the speaker is functioning in an independent manner. Now, try to understand what the constitution says as to who shall be elected as a speaker. Someone who is having the simple majority in the house, that is in the Lok Sabha, shall be elected as a speaker. But who usually will have this majority is only the government will have this majority. Any party which has formed the government will have the majority. So, therefore, it is very likely from which party the speaker will be elected. Usually the party that has formed the government, or it is usually from the coalition of parties which has formed the government. So, therefore, the speaker under our constitutional system, though he is elected as a speaker, he continue to be a party member of a party which is there in power. So, therefore, it is possible that the speaker may become what is called as biased in terms of favoring the government. I am not saying that the speaker will always be, but there is a possibility, because he is getting elected from the political party which is there in power. So, despite all those things, the constitution wanted the speaker to function as an independent person. And that is why, to enable the speaker to function as an independent person, even though he is a person belonging to the ruling party, there are some protection that is given to the speaker. So, therefore, the speaker position cannot be touched upon if he is functioning in an unbiased manner. So, what are the independence and how the speaker is enabled to function impartiality under the constitution? First and foremost, the speaker is given a security of tenure. That means removal of the speaker is not very easy. So, that is why the speaker can be removed only by effective majority, which is not an easy majority to achieve. Just now I discussed about effective majority. So, effective majority is much larger than what is called a simple majority. So, therefore, the government alone may not have the effective majority. So, therefore, it is very difficult to remove what is called as the speaker. So, therefore, the speaker knows it is very difficult to remove him. That helps the speaker to act in an independent and an impartial manner. His salary and allowances are charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India. For time being, have this understanding. When I say charged upon the Consolidated Fund of India, these are all very important expenditures. Therefore, these expenditures are not voted during the debates in the parliament, or these expenditures are not debated. these expenditures are not put to vote during the budgetary process. So right now have this understanding. Charge expenditure means the expenditures are important, so therefore these expenditures are not put to vote during the budgetary process. That is what you will have to understand. And then it is not to be questioned in a court of law regarding the proceedings in the house. So this is again very important. So whatever the speaker decides, the speaker shall not be questioned. So whatever is the speaker deciding with regard to the various proceedings in the house, it cannot be inquired or it cannot be questioned even in a court of law. So that is again very important. The speaker also votes only in case of tie. The speaker is not allowed to vote in the first instance. Therefore, he can maintain his independence and impartiality, because only to break the tie he can vote and not in the first instance. And the constitution also provides for a very high order of precedence to the speaker. Now, what is the order of precedence that is given to the speaker? In fact, the order of precedence which is given to the speaker is similar to that of Chief Justice of India. Who decides this order of precedence? This order is issued by the President of India. So this order of precedence is usually followed in various functions that is conducted by the government. So in the importance that is given to various dignitaries, the seating arrangement that is to be followed, this is all based on what is called as the order of precedence. So the order of precedence of Chief Justice of India is number 7. The order of precedence is of the President is number 1, and therefore it is almost in the order of precedence is very high, which is also equivalent to that of the Chief Justice of India. So this is the importance that the constitution attaches to the speaker of the presiding officer of Lok Sabha, that is the speaker. And the speaker is also given a lot of powers, not only the powers and functions, but there are enough constitutional provisions for the speaker to function independently and impartially. But the question is the speaker functioning independently and impartially despite all those things? So it is for the speaker to decide. But however, what the Constituent Assembly wants, the Constituent Assembly wants the speaker to function what is called as independently and impartially. So now, before we complete our discussion, we shall also discuss about what is called as a deputy speaker. So, but without the completion of the deputy speaker, the topic of the presiding officers in the Lok Sabha is not complete. Because the presiding officer in the Lok Sabha includes both the post of speaker as well as the deputy speaker. So what happens? We have seen that the post of the speaker is the election to the post of the speaker is on the day on which it is to be conducted is decided by the president, and the election is conducted by the speaker pro tem. But once a speaker is elected, the post of the speaker pro tem cease to exist. So once a speaker comes, he decides a date and he conducts election for what is called as a speaker to the deputy speaker. Now, what is the role of the deputy speaker? There is no specific separate role to the deputy speaker. The deputy speaker only function is to perform as the speaker or to preside as a speaker when the speaker is not there. If the post of the speaker becomes vacant or if there is absence of the speaker, then the deputy speaker will preside over the house as a speaker. But as long as a speaker is there, the deputy speaker is just a normal member of the house. The only privilege that is exercised by the deputy speaker is if the deputy speaker is part of any of the committees in the parliament, in the Lok Sabha, in which the speaker is not a member. In that particular case, the deputy speaker automatically becomes a chairman of that particular house. Chairman of that particular committee. So that is the only privilege that the deputy speaker has got. Otherwise, the deputy speaker is just another ordinary member of the house as long as the speaker is there. But during absence and during vacancy of the speaker, the deputy speaker will preside over the house. So therefore, how the deputy speaker is elected? The deputy speaker is also elected from among the members of the house. The only condition that is given in the constitution as to who can, the only qualification that is required as to who can contest election of deputy speaker is that he should be a member of parliament from Lok Sabha. Now, once he is a member of parliament from Lok Sabha, he can contest the election. And what is the majority with which he has to be getting elected is simple majority. Now, there has been many questions that has been asked that the post of the speaker goes to the ruling party and the post of the deputy speaker goes to what is called as the opposition party. There is nothing of that sort is given in the constitution. The constitution only says the speaker and the deputy speaker shall be elected from among the members of the house. They should be a member of Lok Sabha. Both shall be elected by what is called as simple majority. But normally who has a majority? The government has a majority. So therefore the ruling party will elect the speaker. And then what about the deputy speaker? Yes, the ruling party can also elect the deputy speaker if they want. But however, we are following a parliamentary convention. It is merely a conventional practice. We are following a parliamentary convention, and this convention is followed from the 11th Lok Sabha. From the 11th Lok Sabha, we are following this convention that the post of speaker will go to the ruling party because they have the majority, whereas the post of deputy speaker will be given to the opposition party. And who is considered to be the opposition party? Any party which is having not less than 1/10 of the membership of that particular house in the Lok Sabha, then they would be considered to be the opposition party. So normally as a parliamentary convention, the opposition parties are allowed to elect what is called as a deputy speaker, but this is merely a parliamentary convention. Convention can be changed. It is not a provision in the constitution. So that's a basic thing understanding you should have. Now, can you put it in the comment box why there was no deputy speaker in the 16th Lok Sabha, also in the 17th Lok Sabha? If you see the 16th Lok Sabha and the 17th Lok Sabha, there was a speaker, but there was no deputy speaker. Even in the 18th Lok Sabha, the deputy speaker has not yet been elected. But I am not asking about 18th Lok Sabha. Why there was no deputy speaker in the 16th Lok Sabha and the 17th Lok Sabha? Please try to find the answer and put it in the comment box. So apart from that, most of the other provisions are similar to that of the speaker. Say for example, the deputy speaker can submit the resignation to whom? To the speaker. The deputy speaker, if his office falls vacant, then the new deputy speaker has to be elected. But however, there is no problem because the speaker is already there. But if there is a removal motion that is introduced to remove the deputy speaker, and this proposal is introduced in the Lok Sabha, and when this proposal is there, the deputy speaker cannot preside over the house. The deputy speaker can take part in the proceedings in the house. The deputy speaker can participate in that particular proceeding. He can speak in that, and he also has the right to vote in the first instance. But however, when such proceeding is there in the house, he will not be allowed to preside over the house even if the speaker is not there. So therefore, some other person has to preside over that particular house at that point of time. So these are all the basic understanding. You will have to keep it in your mind. Very, very important. So normally if there is a charge against the deputy speaker who is to preside, if there is a charge against the deputy speaker for his removal, then who will preside over the house? The speaker. But if the speaker is not there, the deputy speaker will not be allowed to preside. So in that particular case, who will preside? Anyone among the panel of chairpersons. So in the Lok Sabha, there are group of panel of chairpersons. Anyone among them will preside over the house. So these are all the basic understanding. You should keep it in your mind. Very, very important. Who will be the deputy speaker, or from which party the deputy speaker is usually there? What is the convention that we follow? What is the role of deputy speaker when the speaker is there? No specific function, but the only privilege is that he will be automatically becoming a chairman of the parliamentary committee in which he is a member. That's the only privilege that is given to the deputy speaker, provided the chairman is not part of that particular committee. So these are all important points that you'll have to keep it in your mind. Very, very important. The deputy speaker is elected by elected by simple majority and removed by effective majority. So these are all some of the things that you'll have to keep it in your mind before you wind up this particular lecture. So we are almost coming to the end of the lecture. Before we complete the lecture, please have a look into the question. What is the majority with which the speaker is elected and removed from the house? So which majority is required for the speaker to be elected and to be removed from the house? So you can look into the options and you can put the right answer in the comment box. With that, we are coming to an end of a very important topic, that is the presiding officer in case of Lok Sabha. So we have seen about the speaker, deputy speaker, how they get elected, how they can be removed, what are their powers and functions, and we also seen as to who is a pro-tem speaker. So please remember all those things. Very, very important topic. Thank you very much for watching this lecture, and if you like this lecture, please share it with your friends and family members. And I'm quite sure that it is going to be extremely useful for the students preparing for the UPSC IAS examination. Most of the students have been reaching out to me that they are getting good conceptual clarity over a period of time. So therefore, I'm quite sure it is going to immensely benefit the students who are watching this particular lecture. And if you're watching it, kindly watch it in a order that it is presented in the series. So therefore, it is immensely useful to you. So thank you once again. All the very best.